Okay, so now that we have the basic component set, we can continue by making this range slider look a little bit more like a range slider. So let's create a new element, input, document create element, and type input. And then we will say input type is range, and we will append shadow append input. So let's see. So input type is range, shadow append input, and return. Did I save it? I did. Why didn't it update? Because I'm not running it. So let's start the project. So yeah, we have our basic range slider. It looks super tiny, so we have to add a little bit of styling. So let's do this. Function get theme will return the theme, and we will add, for example, just the basic styling for input, which is going to be width 100%, so that it's not so tiny. But we also have to add it to our element, to the basically to the body. So how do we do this? Last time we used a different technique using style sheets, but sadly it's not working in all the browsers. So we will use a different technique this time. Both are valid, but the previous one is just not supported by all the browsers yet, but it will be in the future. So it's nothing wrong if you learn both techniques. So for now we can go with const style. We just create a new element. Style. And we set this style text content camel case equals get theme. And then we have to append it to the shadow. So we can append both at once. So we append style and input. Tada! So we have a big 100% width input. So now, for example, we can add, let's make a class. Let's add one class to our element here, to our div. So element class list add, and we will call this one a container, but we have to put it in the string. Okay, and now, so we can add a class to any element, and then when we are styling, we can use a selector for this class, and this is by using dot container. So because this is our main element, we have to use it together with host, but otherwise we could just use container and then do the styling inside. So just this particular one needs to be wrapped like this. But otherwise, if we, for example, add to the input a class, for example, input class list add foo, we can use this class like this, and then basically set the width instead of to the input, any input in our page, just to this particular one that has a class foo. So you see nothing changed. We can basically set it to 60% just to show. So yeah, if we want to style any input, but we will have only one input, so it doesn't matter. If we want to style any input, then we can use the input selector. But if we want a particular element of, but we add basically a class And then we can style that element by using the selector inside of the theme. So, okay, so we have a container, which is, if we check inspect element, we can see that our element has a class container without a dot. Dot is just here when we're selecting it, but otherwise when we define it, we don't put a dot there. So our div has a class container, and input has a class foo, although we don't need this anymore. And now what we want to do, let's see if this works. We can just say background color red, just to see. Yep, so we have the selector for the whole container.